So, really curious to see if you figure out who Q is.
In order to write the earliest Q drops, you didn't need special insider knowledge or connections to Trump. You just needed to be familiar with what the Anons already researched and believed. And you needed to understand the Socratic method and basic military strategy. Q began reflecting research gathered in the digs back at Anons in the form of questions. It became a feedback loop. And in order to give Q a pulse, well, you'd want a network of like-minded individuals capable of building excitement and seeding the message. The engine revved up, and those who started talking about Q, as if it were legit, were showered with attention.
My channel has just grown so much. It's just exponential growth.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Now, it's no secret that law enforcement and ex-military networks monitor the Chans. And once Q started gaining traction, it attracted bigger fish with an appetite for information warfare. But it needed a DC insider to lend QAnon believability. Enter Jerome Corsi, who gets involved about 6 weeks into Q. Now, Corsi has a history of serving as an ex-military proxy.
About 3 years ago, a group of generals came to me.
We know that in the past, he's pushed Vallely's agenda. And when explaining why he got involved with Q, Corsi tells Tracy Beans.
Well, a number of people who I consider to be very important to me said you better start looking at this. So I started looking at Q.
Make of that what you will. Corsi then got Alex Jones.
A lot of what I saw QAnon say was really good intel.
And they took Q to a wider audience.
Honestly, if Alex hadn't covered Q through Corsi, I would have never covered it.
Ron would have been foolish not to have had his eyes on Q from the very beginning. And once Q was on 8chan, wouldn't Ron have done whatever was necessary to keep Q on the platform as part of a bigger strategy for gaining power?
Q to him was like a prize pig. He wanted that pig so bad.
As the administrator of 8chan, taking over Q's trip code would have been as easy as rifling through a filing cabinet. We know there was a writing style change. This is why Paul Ferber becomes convinced on January 5th of 2018 that Q was hijacked.
I sent him a private message to Code Monkey and I said, dude, that is not Q and you know it.
When you're trying to figure out who's behind Q, you have to really look at motive. I mean, you have motive.
What's my motive?
Oh, I mean, you could have had motive to take down the mainstream media, to red pill the masses, to get information out to people that wasn't getting out any other way.
If you look at my Twitter feed, that's what I'm doing publicly now.
It is what you're doing publicly now, yeah.
I've spent the past, almost 10 years every day doing this kind of research anonymously. Now I'm doing it publicly. That's the only difference.
Ron had just given me one of the biggest Q proofs to date. Or should I say, proof that he's Q. Yeah, I've noticed you...
Yeah, don't think for a second that half the threads on full weren't like me digging.
Ron had always been adamant that he wasn't really a user of 8chan.
I don't post much there myself. Every once in a while I'll post as admin.
He always claimed he wasn't involved in the research or the digs.
Even as a user, I don't partake much in their discussion. And I don't know the intricacies in exactly what they're doing.
But then, in our final conversation, perhaps wanting the credit, he admitted something shocking. Ron hadn't just been participating in Q research. It sounded like he was leading it.
Yeah, so thinking back on it, it was basically 3 years of intelligence training, teaching normies how to do intelligence work. It's basically what I was doing anonymously before, but never as Q.
See that smile? Ron had slipped up. He knew it, and I knew it. And after 3 tireless years of cat and mouse, well...
Never as Q, I promise.
Never as Q. Okay.
Because I am not cute. It never was.
Oh, man.